The Sunday school lessons have been designed in a way that they have Sankofa moments. It's looking back to look forward. Sankofa. I'm going to take a couple minutes to look back. Can you believe it's been 5 years? Going and starting our 6th year together. And over the past 5 years, we have enlarged and stretched. We have regular presence at city council. We have regular presence at school board meetings. We even have a person, Ramona, who is going to run for school board. We have a recovery community who has found safe space meeting in our church. We have increased our advocacy for the marginalized in the community. We have become safe harbor for the unsheltered. New leaders have been developed. We have partnerships with Moms Demand Action, Church Women United. The storyboard was installed out in front of the church. We are a stop on the African American History Tour. Our new mural will be finished in April. We've attempted a lot of good ministries that it either wasn't time or they just didn't work for whatever reason, but we stepped out there. And we've repaired the temple. We filled and covered the cistern in the back. There were new gutters and downspouts. The roof was repaired, the old AC unit and the ducts were taken out. That was so much work the trustees did. We removed broken and unused furniture. We removed mold that was growing in the walls, repainted and repaired and painted interior walls, remodeled the office, created the historical room. We installed shower and exhaust, upgraded electrical, replaced light fixtures in the basement, had the pews and carpets professionally cleaned. We've replaced the rotting floor under the pulpit, repaired the rotting floor joists so that we know we're not going to fall through the floor. We had to remove the choir loft because the wood was rotting. That was really hard. We framed in the crumbling exposed brick wall. We replaced the sanctuary light bulbs with LED. They're so nice and bright. The trustees did that. The members bought new tables. We have an additional refrigerator, a new stove, new microphone, speakers, soundboard. We've added a sound room window, new computer, printers. And we've added members and we've lost members. People have moved away and people have died. People came through our doors just for a season. People weren't happy with all the internal strife, said it was just too much, and went on their way. And for some, I am just too much. I'm pushy and bossy. And, you know, I came in really too strong when I started at St. James. And at this time, just want to really officially and formally, publicly apologize that I came into this church broken and off balance. And all of that was projected. I didn't have my own footing. My personal life was in shambles. I was coming out of Ferguson, suffering with PTSD, had no idea what all of that meant. It wasn't until my spirit was finally at peace and settled that I really understood how much stress my body and my mind and my spirit had been under. So for the remnant who hung on, thank you. Thank you for your grace and compassion. Thank you for pulling my coattail. Thank you for praying for me. Thank you for trusting God when you couldn't trust me. Thank you. So looking back to look forward, strategic planning is planning for change. Change is inevitable in any organization. It's inevitable in our own lives. But change doesn't have to just happen to us. We can help shape the change that we will inevitably experience. As we're looking forward, I am sure that my time at St. James is just about up. Nobody has said anything. It's just the feeling. And I believe that when we get that feeling, when we know that change is in the air, that we have to prepare for it. And I know how to listen to God. And it's time. This is our season. And whether it's a year or 2 years, I don't know. I don't have a sense of time. But I know that now's the time for us together to begin planning for change. And not just change of pastoring, but change in the life of the church. I'd like to do is to walk the congregation through a strategic planning process. A strategic planning process is when people get together and just begin to talk and process together and look and make plans for 2 years down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road, short-term, midterm, and long-term planning. Form a sense of identity and mission, and then begin figuring out through a discerning process and conversation with each other how to live that sense of call. We figure focus, building improvements, funding, and growth. All of that is intentional. Sometimes we see churches after they've gone through this process with their core groups, when we don't see how people got there, we don't realize, the work that went into that type of growth. St. James can grow. We just need to be intentional about who we are and who we want to become and how to manifest that in plans that we can implement, so that we're not just snatching at the wind saying, let's try this, let's try that, but being very intentional about fulfilling our mission. And then things that we need to plan for also is that there's still work to be done on our building, and the parsonage is in disrepair. It has been, but it's time for us to start looking toward some work that needs to be done both on the church building itself and the parsonage. So that process is a series of meetings over a stretch of time. And I would like to invite us to do that. But if we don't want to do that as a congregation, if you want to, we can just coast and, make do and make best and do what we've been doing as best we can. And, in a year or so, when your new pastor comes, maybe that's what you all do together at that time. But I want to at least introduce that to you. And if the congregation wants to begin planning, doing some strategic planning, I would like to do that with you.